Okay. Let's take a look around here then. It's just ammo? Just ammo. Yeah, I don't know if Arya's friend can actually survive that encounter or if he automatically dies as soon as you show up, because we certainly kept him waiting. Oh no, was it a Vorcha? I thought it was a Batarian. I love the Vorcha, man. And we saw, oh, 2 Vorcha and a Sari. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't go so well for them. And we perhaps might have been a little more helpful had we been a little quicker, though. I imagine probably no saving them. Yeah, that is the shield generator that is giving us those shields, or actually the shield pylon right here. Grab that. Okay, I think we're good. Any surprises? Oh, looking good. What is that? What is that? I did not recognize that at all. Doesn't look like a Cerberus logo. It's a white circle with 3 messy red lines through it. No idea what that's supposed to be a reference to, or if that's just random graffiti.
I know that symbol.
Looks like a gang tag.
The Talons. They used it to deface my property, too.
Oh, okay. I was just talking about it. I guess that bottom one, rather than being messy, might actually be a T. But no, we've never heard of them before, I don't think. You obviously know of Eclipse, Bloodpack, and Blue Suns from Mass Effect 2, all the key mercenary groups on Omega, but perhaps Talon is another one that for some reason just didn't pop up at all in Mass Effect 2. Their logo is all over this.
Omega has been compromised. All servers, personnel, report to stations.
Does raise some suspicion that, you know, it certainly seems like there might be some presence of Talon. Okay, graffiti to examine.
The Talon symbol again.
Could be evidence of a resistance.
Might be useful.
Oh, I mean, that's a dead Cerberus trooper. So yeah, I mean, if Talon is also fighting against Cerberus, then we'll take all the help we can get. We're through there. Oh, what's this? Scrap metal to salvage. For a little bit more monies. Can't go through here. So let us proceed. Can't go through here, can we? Now can't squeeze through? Okay. I can't help but notice there's fire this way. We can't go this way. There's a big wall that way. Well, that does look cool. What does that say? Serta Electronics, maybe? I don't know. Looks like we gotta go this way.
One of my soldiers by the force field.
Oh, okay. That guy's a friend? I hope you're right.
What the hell is he doing?
What? The heck? Is that? Whoa! Okay, so don't touch the wall. Otherwise, you'll get eviscerated. And what is the deal with you?
Max, take them out!
That's not like any mech we've seen before. A Rampart mech. Reminds me a little bit of the Loki mechs from Mass Effect 2, but no, this thing looks a little bit different. I imagine this is a powerful enemy because we just saw it had what it seemed to be a melee ability of some significance. So it does have armor, which means that Lash is ineffective against it. Carnage is very effective. Reeve technically is effective as well. Warp is effective too. I think what we might want to do then is maybe we warp Carnage. I mean, it's right on top of us as well. Warp Carnage to detonate, and then technically Carnage has a very brief priming moment, so maybe if we follow up immediately with cluster grenades, we can hit another detonation there.
They're coming through the force field.
Okay, Cerberus Rampart mech, hold on. It is a Cerberus mech, so it's not like this is Talon. I wasn't entirely sure, but I am curious to see. And we've not done much reading up on our codex as of late, much at all in Mass Effect 3, but what would it be under? Organizations, technology. I mean, it's not Reapers, and that's pretty broad. I imagine it's probably more specific and therefore maybe. Oh, Omega Reclaimed, Omega Secrets, maybe this. Arya T'Loak, let's read up a bit. A powerful biotic, Arya T'Loak has been the sole ruler of Omega for some time. Remember, Asari can live for thousands of years, so I do think she's been ruler of Omega for at least several hundred. Rumored to be at least 1,000 years old, she is as skilled at combat and the use of her biotic abilities as she is at manipulation and power games. Ruthless, highly intelligent, and dedicated to maintaining her rule over Omega, Arya is a force to be reckoned with. Good thing, she's on our side. Though recent events have seen Cerberus take over Omega and send Arya into exile, there is no doubt that Arya will do everything within her power to reclaim what is hers. Okay, so that's Arya. Cerberus' occupation of Omega, the Lucive Man's plan to capture Omega was elegantly wrought. Experimental specimens called adjutants escaped from a Cerberus facility beyond the Omega-4 relay. What? That's the relay from Mass Effect 2, is it not? The one where we found the collector base? Oh, Cerberus, what have you been up to? Took command of a Cerberus convoy and arrived on Omega to wreak havoc. With more adjutants incoming, Cerberus reached out to Arya T'Loak, claiming it needed her to help stop its wayward test subjects. Reluctantly offering her own forces in an alliance, Arya joined Cerberus General Oleg Petrovsky aboard his ship to oversee the battle. When the adjutants overran the Cerberus Omega fleet, Petrovsky and Arya escaped through the Omega-4 relay. Whoa! They went through the Omega-4 relay? However, Petrovsky's subordinate, Colonel Raymond Ash, had remained behind on Omega to take control of the station's defenses while Cerberus reinforcements approached. Announcing that it was protecting the galaxy from the adjutant threat, Cerberus seized Omega, giving the Lucive Man full control of the Omega-4 relay and space beyond. Remember, the Omega-4 relay, the one that took us into the center of the galaxy where, roughly the center of the galaxy, where the collector base was, is in the same system as Omega. So yes, it is right here, and that makes sense that by having control of Omega, you basically have control of the Omega-4 relay. And so, if you're doing some kind of secret experiments on the other side of that Omega-4 relay, then perhaps there is reason to try to control Omega, in addition to it just being the most important location in all the Terminus systems. So, without Arya to keep them in line, the various criminal and mercenary factions on the station erupted, fighting both Cerberus ground troops and each other. Meanwhile, Arya was taken captive by General Petrovsky. Realizing that the adjutants had simply been a ruse to capture Omega, Arya managed to escape back to Omega, slipping away into its underbelly to organize a resistance force. Eventually, Petrovsky ordered the Cerberus forces to evacuate the station, but this was yet another ruse, this time to lure Arya out of hiding. With his troops out of harm's way, Petrovsky summoned a massive Cerberus fleet and presented to Arya an ultimatum: leave Omega or lose it. Petrovsky threatened to destroy the station rather than lose control, and with no alternative, Arya left, vowing she would return to claim Omega and take her revenge. Okay, so there's a lot more context as to what exactly is going on here, how Cerberus came into control of Omega, and how they duped Arya in the process. So you can understand a little bit more why Arya is very eager to fight Cerberus off. Then we have Cerberus General Oleg Petrovsky, who we've only recently met but does seem to be the mastermind behind this ordeal. Military strategist and classical scholar, General Oleg Petrovsky is one of the Lucive Man's most respected operatives. As a corporal in the First Contact War, so he has a pretty distinguished history in the Systems Alliance with the human military. Petrovsky was forced to take command of his unit and proved his tactical brilliance by holding off repeated Turian attacks for weeks. The war ended before his position was overrun, but not before Petrovsky had witnessed firsthand the brutality of the Turian war machine. And did that turn him off to all other aliens and said, I'm all about humans, and therefore I'm going to join Cerberus? Despite being praised and promoted for his bravery, Petrovsky eventually found more common ground with Cerberus than the Alliance military. Exactly. Since leading the campaign to seize Omega, Petrovsky has proven to be a capable, if firm, administrator who is focused on containing or eliminating unstable elements, rebels, before they threaten Cerberus's occupation of the station. Okay, so that gives us definitely some more useful context as well. Then this is the thing that we were trying to look at before, the Rampart mech, the new enemy that we've just encountered for the first time. Though its initial invasion of Omega was successful, Cerberus was soon faced with the problem of controlling the station's large and often lawless population. An initial solution was to establish detainment areas bordered with impassable force fields. Ah, okay. Yup. We just saw some of those. And impassable indeed. Yeah, not about to go through those. Believed to be sheets of plasma suspended in a magnetic field. As Cerberus tightened its control of the station, units that could pass freely through the force fields to police the populace became necessary, leading Cerberus engineers to recover Loki's security mechs from the remaining Eclipse mercenary chapters. They are not just coincidentally looking like Eclipse Loki mechs. They legitimately were, at least initially, Loki mechs that they then improved. When upgraded with Cerberus proprietary mini-fabrication technology, shielding recovered from Omega's Element Zero processing plants, and additional ablative armor, the result was the Rampart mech, a flexible combat unit designed for control and intimidation of Omega's inhabitants. I mean, don't have a great sense as to what its abilities are, other than just that it clearly has some kind of melee ability. There's a chance, maybe even, that it can one-shot you at close range, so I imagine we definitely want to keep them from far away from us. Haven't seen it fire any weapons at us, I don't think so. I don't know if it has any range capabilities. Rampart mechs can seek out targets or troublemakers anywhere on Omega, even lower industrial areas where radiation can be intense. It is fitted with infrasound and scent markers that are fight or flight triggers for several species and are intended to subdue or disperse a crowd. When necessary, Rampart mechs can channel all available power into generating a high-intensity shield that defends against hacking or biotic attacks and weapons fire, protecting the Rampart until reinforcements arrive. Oh. Okay, we've not seen that, I don't think. It sounds kind of similar to what Phantoms do, where they put up their shields. So I wonder if it's the same type of thing, where if we hit them directly with a skill, then that will occasionally cause them to raise some kind of shield. That when the Phantoms do that, they have to stand still, and I think they can still fire, but they can't advance on you into melee range when they're doing that. But, of course, no idea if that's how that ability works, or if they can move when they're doing it. For combat, most Rampart mechs are equipped with a standard issue shotgun. Okay, that's definitely good to know. So yes, they can shoot us, and shotgun would suggest close range is, again, where they're most dangerous. If damaged beyond repair, the Rampart mech destroys the shotgun's aluminum alloy heat dispersal sinks, coating any nearby assailants in red-hot residue that burns through armor? What? Hold on. If damaged beyond repair, the Rampart mechs destroy the shotgun's aluminum alloy heat dispersal sinks, coating any nearby assailants in red-hot residue that burns through armor. Once again, if you're close, not only can they directly attack you, if you damage them too much, it sounds like, I don't know if this is a purely passive ability, kind of like the Ravager mud or goo that they leave on the ground that does deal damage over time, or if it is still an active ability that they need to have time to use, and if you destroy them quickly enough, then even once they take damage, they still won't be able to pull it off. In extreme situations, the Rampart mech overclocks into a hunter-killer mode, diverting power from its unique shield to single-mindedly destroy its target. In this mode, the Rampart mech moves faster, attacking with a flash-forged Omniblade, that's what we saw, that targets unprotected nerve clusters and immobilizes the luckless target. The Rampart also channels excessive heat through the dispersal sinks, visibly burning off material to create an intimidating display as it advances. Okay, so that's... what I'm not sure about that is, does it just deal a lot of damage? Or, as I have said before, there are technically some enemies that have built-in one-shot kill mechanics. We fortunately have not experienced any of them yet, but that is in large part because I know them and know how to avoid them, for the most part. Whereas this is very much an unknown quantity. Is it just a lot of damage, or if it gets close enough and it uses its ability on us, will we quite literally just instantly die? Possibly. Possibly. I mean, everything that we learned about the Rampart mech suggests keep this thing as far away as humanly or mechanically possible. Shields, damage as it gets damaged, or maybe when it gets destroyed, and potentially very quick and capable of dealing a whole lot of damage from close range, either with a shotgun or with melee abilities, possibly even capable of one-shotting you. So, okay, that's what we're dealing with here. And that's another one. And I see 2 dots on our map. Yeah, that's a Rampart mech. That's a Rampart mech. Can't really tell which one's closer from here just yet. On our mini-map, it looks like the one that's further to the left is closer, which would suggest this one. But I'm not 100% sure about that. I think, given how they're armored, that means we want to lead off with Warp.
Stand still, you piece of shit.
There's the... okay, both of them using shields. So, it looks like it's quite temporary. Okay, shotguns, I'm curious how much range they have. They did hit us ever so slightly with it. But now, you're primed, and we can detonate with biotic abilities. Lash is not good against armor. Reeve is, so I think we go that route. Because that will detonate, actually, both. Or no, that one was primed, that one wasn't. It primes you, which means we should be able to warp you. Oh, maybe not so much. Okay, so then we can throw to detonate. Please stay back. Are there more? Yes, there definitely are. I see stuff moving. And once again, the warp did seem like a good idea. It triggers the shield. It is quite brief. So does seem to be the case. That is good to know.
Faster.
You with that?
They're fast.
They are fast indeed. Ooh, that one, okay, did get hit by the Reeve. And now you are primed with warp. Let's throw. Let's take you out.
Need to check out that force field.
Yeah, I would not recommend touching it though. Just a hunch, you know? Just a small hunch.
Over here, Shepard.
Okay, before we rush over there though, just want to make sure we aren't missing out on anything loot-wise in the area, because I feel like it would be easy to hide something here. So we probably don't want to touch any of those barriers ourselves, right? Oh, also, we did use a bunch of grenades, or at least one grenade. So if we can make a point of nabbing one of those ammo crates, I mean, we did get one there, but it didn't have grenades in it, apparently. Unfortunately. About over here. No. I just want a grenade, man. I mean, we'll be fine down one grenade, probably. But there we are. Okay, let's save.
Poor idiot. Something tells me these force fields are going to be a problem.
Are we blocked?
Not this time. Come here. This way.
Okay. Butler supplies. Certainly good to have someone on the team who knows their way around.
What are you doing?
Letting you in on a secret. Down the ladder.
Oh. Okay, we actually don't need this right now. But we would like to get the shotgun high velocity barrel. Absolutely. That is another one, similar to what we saw with the assault rifle and also with the pistol, where those mods increase damage and in some cases also give piercing. So a bit of a hybrid. However, the downside is that although they are great for damage for those reasons, they increase the weight of the weapon. So they're not as good on Shepard, where you care about the weight for cooldowns, but for squad mates, ideal, because you get all the upside of damage and armor piercing, and the weight doesn't matter, so why not? Okay, let's save. No, we just saved. We're good, we're good. Oh, thought we were just gonna fall down. It's quiet. Too quiet. Who's that?
Who's there? Show yourself.
Spirits, look who's back. Arya Talok.
Huh? You know this person?
Nyreen, what the hell are you doing here?
Playing cat and mouse, mostly. Just trying to stay alive. If it wasn't for these tunnels...
My tunnels. I'm sure glad I showed them to you.
If you hadn't, I'd be dead or locked up by now.
Okay, so, clearly you two know each other. Must be close, I guess.
Arya doesn't trust easily. I guess you're a good friend.
I don't know. Are we, Arya?
Shepard, this is Nyreen Kandros, ex-Turian military. We go way back. I've got a lot of questions, but they'll have to wait. Follow us, we'll get you to safety.
I'll do my best.
Okay. I mean, if she's been fending for herself here on Omega amongst this Cerberus attack, not only was she able to find a relatively safe spot, presumably she ran into some enemies at some point, some Cerberus troopers, or maybe even one of those mechs, so you would think she can fend for herself. Also, little hard to see, little hard to tell based on how she's wearing a hood like that. However, you heard Arya mention Turian military, and might be asking yourself, hold on a second, Lids. That doesn't look like any Turian I've seen before, and there's a reason for that. The reason for that is because thus far, in the entire Mass Effect trilogy, I believe this is the first female Turian we have ever encountered in the entire game, which is just insane. That, technically speaking, the Solarians we've learned in the Codex, I believe, in Mass Effect 1, are something like 70% male and 30% female, whereas Turians, no, it's right around 50-50, presumably, and yet this is the first female Turian we've ever met. Why is that significant? Because actually, female and male Turians look different. They have a different facial structure at the very least. And so, I do remember the first time I played Mass Effect and I saw the first female Turian that we ever encountered, I was like, what? This is a totally different species? And no one's acknowledging the fact that there's someone who's a member of a totally different species here, and no one's gonna tell us about it? Like, there's no explanation at all? And that's because, well, female Turians, they look different, and for some reason, it is only now that we first discover that to be the case, or at least see that firsthand.
Ready to put that gun to good use?
You have no idea.
And there you can see. All right, well.
So why are you back, Arya?
To reclaim what's mine.
Left something behind, I take it.
Not something. Everything.
Ladies, I get it. You're close. You're close. Maybe too close. Maybe a little too close. You know?
I suppose.
Yes.
Also, for what it's worth, Nyreen here, incredibly tall. Wow. She's like not even standing up straight. She is towering over us, towering over Arya. It's kind of weird. I mean, what, Garrus is a little bit taller than us, I think, but she might even be taller than Garrus. I don't remember Turians being this tall in the past, so yeah, she's, for whatever reason, she's super tall, and as you see, she's a member of the team now, apparently. So you can see a better look at her face at the very bottom there next to Arya. On the right is where, of course, Nyreen is. And there you can see that, yeah, I mean, there's certainly some similarities between a male Turian face and a female Turian face, but the female Turian face, you can't quite make it out perfectly here, but there's sort of like, there's more of the, I don't know, what do you want to call them, mandibles off to the side. And so, for that reason, if you see a male and a female Turian right next to each other, you might not even recognize that they're technically part of the same species. But, with that being said, if we open up our squad screen, we will now see that we can, well, spend a whole bunch of points here on Nyreen, because she is truly, much like Arya, it seems to be, a full-blown squad member. So, let's take a look at what we have here. So, we have Incinerate, which, have we seen much? Oh, Edie has it. Yeah, and we haven't used Edie all that much, but Edie has Incinerate, so a fire ability that deals a lot of upfront damage, a little bit of damage over time, primes fire combos, detonates fire combos. Actually, I think it can also detonate tech combos as well. So, more combos. Overload, also an ability that we saw on Edie. Primes tech combos, detonates tech and fire combos. So, and cryo as well, although that's not really going to be relevant for us. It's a very tech-oriented there. Biotic Protector. That's an ability that, well, I've never seen before. It is not in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. Deploy a shield that protects all damage against all damage at the expense of moving, shooting, or using powers while it is enabled. Whoa. Complete damage mitigation? Certainly sounds nice, but it sounds like the downside is, at least while active, Nyreen is completely incapable of doing anything else. So, comes at a steep cost, yes, but at times that may still be a cost worth paying. Then Lift Grenade. We have seen what Javik has this. So, lots of tech powers here, and then Lift Grenade is technically a biotic ability that can detonate a lot of things. I think it can detonate just about anything that isn't protected. Is that the way that it works? Yeah, I think so. Like shields and armor are going to be a bit of a problem here. Fortunately, we were talking earlier about how shields are generally the weakness of biotic-based characters, and Nyreen joining the squad and bringing Overload does make a pretty big difference dealing with shields. Incinerate, good against armor. Lift Grenade, I don't know if it actually has a damage multiplier against any type of defenses, but crowd control at the very least, and then Biotic Protector and her passives. So, okay. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. If there's one thing to take away from this, it's that between us with Warp as a universal detonator and a Biotic Primer, Throw as, I believe, a universal detonator, and Singularity for Biotic Priming, Pull for Priming, although that's not really going to be that much of a factor, and Cluster Grenade for universal detonating. Aria with Biotic Priming, multiple Biotic Priming with Reeve, Biotic Detonating with Reeve, Tech Detonating and Tech, or rather, Fire Detonating and Brief Fire Priming with Carnage, Biotic and Tech Detonating with Lash, and Brief Biotic Priming as well, and Biotic Detonating with Flare, and then priming of the fire variety and detonating of the fire and tech variety with Incinerate, and priming for tech, detonating for tech and fire with Overload, and detonating anything on a non-protected target. If we were a combo-based setup before, we are even more a combo-based setup now. So this could become very, very interesting. We didn't have a great answer for those mercs, or rather the mechs that we were encountering previously. Yeah, we have some decent damage against them with Warp, and then we can detonate with Carnage, but having just a little more to go against armor with, like, say, Incinerate could be really, really nice. So let's take a look here. So, base damage, 390, at least before we upgrade any passives, which may have tech power damage or other type of generic power damage. So, the recharge speed is going to be pretty significant, because 16 seconds is a long time to wait if we're trying to pull off combos, so let's upgrade that for sure. Then, extra damage, and I think, let's see, between damage and radius. So for Incinerate, I think you can, in terms of can you prime/detonate numerous targets, you definitely can't detonate more than one target per Incinerate. You might be able to detonate one, and then if you catch another one in the radius, you can prime that second or maybe third one with the radius option. I'm not sure if you can prime numerous enemies, as much as best case scenario is detonate one and prime a separate target. So that's still potentially useful for pulling off combos, otherwise it's base damage. Then burning damage for more damage over time, or recharge speed. Normally I'd probably be leaning toward burning damage, but again, if we're trying to pull off combos in the name of pulling off as many combos as possible, it's tempting. It's tempting to take the recharge speed, so why don't we go, I think we will try radius. Again, name of the game here, I think, is we're going to try to just go all out on the combos, because we just have so much potential for it. Now, Incinerate can also detonate cryo explosions. We don't have cryo ammo or any other cryo ability, so that's not really going to be a factor here. So I think that definitely means we're going for the armor damage. 50% additional damage against armor is nice, because the base damage, not great, but Incinerate does have, I believe, what is it, maybe an inherent ×2 multiplier against armor, so add in the plus 50% armor damage on top of that, and starts to become much more of a factor. And again, she may have power damage. Yeah, looks like she has power damage here from Turian Huntress, so sounds good. Overload. As we were saying, also not great against shields with our current setup. Lash is certainly useful, being one of the few biotic powers that can still work well against shielded enemies, but Overload could be a big help in that regard. So let's upgrade this pretty aggressively here. And the question becomes, this is a pretty extreme case of if you really want to focus on the combos, you could go Chain, you could go Neural Shock to stun enemies, and you could Chain again to hit a total of 3 separate enemies, which makes Overload one of the best detonating abilities, because you can detonate 3 separate times with one ability, one use. So that is really nice. Yes, at least for detonating, but it does deal less damage, direct damage at least, with each subsequent chain. So by the time you're getting to your 3rd chain, it's what, 60% less, and then another 60% less than that. So it's something like low double digits, might be like 16%, might even be lower than that. I don't know, mental math. But it's bad. It's really bad in terms of direct damage. So depends how much of a balance we want to strike there. Usually what you do with Incinerate is you get one of the chains, and then you get damage or recharge speed, or, well, Neural Shock is definitely going to be what we take here, but you get damage, or you get the shield damage with the other option. So for that reason, we may go that route. I think we go Chain here, Neural Shock here, which can stun enemies, and actually for organic targets, I'm not sure if it's technically a bug, but for organic targets it does hit them twice, so it actually is a huge damage multiplier for that. Then we took the Chain here, so we could go super crazy on the Chain and have terrible damage, at least for the 2nd and 3rd procs of the Chain, or get much better target or single target damage for enemies that are shielded. And I think that might be the middle ground that we're looking for, because yes, we have all this great combo potential here. So you could make a case for this, especially if you say reave a bunch of enemies and then actually can Overload detonate biotic combos. I don't think it can. I think that's the one type of combo it can't detonate. So since reave is one of our best multi-primers, maybe that's reason enough not to take Chain Overload if it doesn't work with reave. Yeah, let's do this then. Then Biotic Protector. I'm intrigued, because this is totally new to me. Deploy a shield that protects against all damage at the expense of moving, shooting, or using powers while it is enabled. So recharge speed 10 seconds. Actually not that bad of a recharge speed compared to other skills at the very beginning. Duration just 4 seconds, so it's not very long, but I think we throw some points in this thing. I'm intrigued at the very least. Then duration. Okay, so now it's starting to feel a little more worth it as the recharge speed gets pretty close to the duration. I imagine the recharge only starts once the ability is done. Like, it's not going to start the cooldown right when you initiate the ability. It's only going to start the cooldown once that 5 seconds is over. Otherwise, you just have a 3-second downtime, and that'd be crazy powerful. But Blast. Trigger a 3-meter radius blast when deploying the shield, dealing 300 points of damage. Not a ton of damage. 3-meter radius is... it's kind of big, and I'm not sure how big this shield is to begin with. But, I mean, if the shield has a several meter radius, and then you're adding 3 meters on top of that for the blast, then suddenly that could become quite big. Or bonus power, give Biotic Protector a 50% chance of not triggering a cooldown. Again, remember that Nyreen is going to be completely immobile, incapable of doing anything while she is actively shielding us. So for that reason, it's purely for when the shield is down, maybe being able to do something immediately after, like potentially spamming another Biotic Protector. But that feels like it's certainly a gamble, and I'm not necessarily sure that's a gamble we want to take, whereas I don't know how significant this blast is going to be, but maybe we try that out? Maybe we try that out. Then recharge speed, again, getting us down to 6.45 seconds. That's quite quick. Or the duration. Okay, so, I mean, it's similar in either case. you prefer the recharge speed or the duration? I think I might prefer the recharge speed because, sure, the duration works well specifically for Biotic Protector, having it up for longer. However, it's similar to the recharge speed, means once one Biotic Protector goes down, you can get another one up soon thereafter. However, it also works for other skills. After finishing a Biotic Protector, you can, say, transition into an Overload or an Incinerate, and that is probably more likely to be the situation in which, or the thing that we'll want to do after finishing a Biotic Protector, so I think for that reason, this one's more well-rounded. So yeah, 6.5, at least for squad mates, that's quite good. Then weapons damage. Deal 50% more weapon damage for 10 seconds after the shield expires. Oh, that's weird. Not while you're in it. After it expires. Or reduce incoming damage by 50% for 10 seconds after the shield expires. Not only do you not take damage in the shield, you take 50% less damage when the shield expires. Combine that with the additional defenses we're getting from Defense Matrix, and technically the number that you see here is a little bit inflated because usually the numbers you see are for when you are in cover, because you do get additional damage reduction when you're in cover, but still. I mean, if we're in cover with this and with Defense Matrix, then we have, what, something like 20, or rather a 75% damage protection, if not maybe even more than that. And outside of cover, you know, maybe more like 60. I'm not sure exactly what the multiplier is, but either way, it's huge. So that seems pretty hard to turn down. That sounds really cool. I'm all for it. And that's interesting how, I mean, she has what seems to be a skill set that combines well with Arya's, giving us more options for detonating combos, though Arya more leaning toward the biotic side of things, whereas Nyreen leaning more toward the tech side of things, but also has what looks like it could potentially be the strongest support skill in the entire game with Biotic Protector. I don't know. I mean, depending on mechanically how this feels when we actually use it, there's certainly a lot of potential. Then Lift Grenade. So, I mean, we do have a lot of forms of detonation from biotic skills, and Lift Grenade, I think, only detonates unprotected targets, so it's probably not as useful as her other skills based on the skill set that both Shepard and Arya have, and so I think this one we might not focus as much on. I mean, it still can get decent damage even if we only take it up a few ranks, so why don't we go... Let's focus on our passive now, and then we'll take whatever remaining skills we have left and put that into Lift Grenade. So, let's see. Health and shields, and then power damage. Yeah. So, we were wondering if that might be something we'd be able to get on her. And we were saying her base damage certainly not as good as Arya's, but Arya has crazy passive damage bonuses, and might be able to get more here. Let's see. Increase weapons damage by 30%. So, yeah, I mean, we were saying how we don't have a lot of weapons damage ourselves, so having a squad mate who can provide weapons damage would be nice. However, we are primarily structured as a power-based team, so we either do that or we take health and shields 30%. It's a pretty sizable amount. We aren't that tanky either. What is her I think she started off with the same amount of protection, same amount of survivability and tankiness as Arya. Don't remember if we took any of the defensive stuff with Arya, though. No, I think we went for, on her rank 4, more biotic damage. I think we might go this route. Just because, I mean, yes, to a certain extent, having additional weapons damage on at least one of our characters would be nice, but we have so much going for us from a power-based standpoint that I think we might just not really do much for our weapons damage. Increase biotic power damage by 30% or tech power damage by 30%. So, her biotic abilities are what? Biotic Protector and Lift Grenade, whereas tech are Overload and Incinerate. I think we are definitely looking for her to be more of a tech skill provider than a biotic skill provider, because Shepard does all the biotics and Arya does a whole lot as well. So you're largely our tech specialist. So I think we definitely prioritize that. And then squad power damage. Increase the damage of squad's tech and biotic powers by 20%. I mean, that sounds pretty awesome. Or increase power damage by 30% for her specifically. So similar to what we saw with Arya. Is it something that works specifically for her and has a slightly higher number, or do we go across the board for the entire team? And given how the entire team has a ton of damage, it is, I mean, it's tempting. It's tempting to go for the squad damage. I think we've got to do that, right? I think we have to. Because that just makes, I don't know if that immediately updates the numbers for Arya. Like, does it affect what we see here? 465, that looks familiar, but I remember the Carnage number. It does not update it here. But so it is actually higher than what we see, though. Okay. So we still have a few points remaining for lift grenade, so we can at least put a little bit in there so that she has a lift grenade. So lob this grenade into a group of enemies to send them flying. It does have a large radius, 5 meters, so that is helpful for crowd control purposes, and it does send them flying, which is useful for disabling large group of enemies. Yeah, now we see 877, so yeah, that's definitely higher now that we've taken some of her passives. Then we up that to almost 1,000, so yeah, that's still, even at rank 3, potentially significant. And out of curiosity, we got Incinerate up to 735. Okay, still not as high as Carnage, but remember that the combo damage is independent from the damage that you see written here. So the ability itself, the base ability, still should deal a lot to armor, but the combos, of course, are going to be a big deal as well. And then Overload, I think it might have a ×3 multiplier to shields. So, yeah, that's still going to be huge damage against shielded enemies. And then the Biotic Protector. Is it still... It said, what? 300 damage here, I thought? Where did it say that? Oh, on the blast. So I don't know if this number gets updated based on power damage, because it does not seem as dynamic as the other ones, based on how it's not written over to the right there, but maybe not. But anyways, oh, and also, in terms of health, she's slightly, ever so slightly lower than Arya, but it's functionally the same. Okay, so there's the team. I like the looks of it. It sounds like we are going to have crazy, I mean absolutely crazy combos going here. And if we're looking at what she has equipped, it looks like that's a pistol and an assault rifle, I think. So Arya, SMG, shotgun, Nyreen, pistol, assault rifle. So okay, we have our bases covered for the most part for weapons. In fact, I mean, we can confirm here. Yeah, Predator, so pistol and Avenger, assault rifle. We'd certainly like to get to a weapons bench so we can give Nyreen better weapons than that.